Hey guys, I'm going to be starting a series of videos going over the abilities and strengths and weaknesses of certain characters in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. So I'm going to start off with this video talking about Luminara Unduli. She's classified as a Jedi attacker. If we look at her stats, now these stats are with her gear level being level 8. If we look at her stats, she has the standard strength, agility, and intelligence boosts from the gear. She gets boosts in her health, physical damage, physical critical rating, armor penetration, and special critical rating. So yeah, I know a lot of people don't actually look at these stats, but it's good to familiarize yourself with these because they vary from character to character and can influence the way you play. So we'll start off by going over her basic attack. It's called Flow of the Force. Obviously, it just does physical damage with a 35% chance to gain evasion off for 2 turns. Now, just a disclaimer, this is with Flow of the Force being at level 7. So at earlier levels, I'm not sure specifically what the statistics are, but this is once you get leveled up to level 7. If you go back to her stats, you'll notice her deflection rating is actually 0. So that just determines the chance to evade special abilities. So her main source of evasion comes from this percentage chance of getting evasion of her 2 turns, getting procced off of her basic attack. So it's a really nice ability. I've played against many Luminaras where many of my basic attacks just completely miss when she has this buff. Let's talk about her first special ability, Force Blast. This one, personally, it does an insane amount of damage. I really like it. It deals physical damage and inflicts ability block for 1 turn. Now, many players read this and think that since there's no percentages involved, Luminara automatically inflicts ability block. This isn't necessarily the case. If we go down to the stats again, we'll scroll all the way down to tenacity. We'll see that her tenacity is at 32%. What this means is out of 100 attacks, 32 of them will ignore the detrimental effects of whatever attack was being inflicted on her. I forgot to mention what tenacity was. Tenacity is the ability of a character to ignore any negative status effects. For example, ability block, damage over time, stuns, things of that sort. So even though it does say it inflicts ability block for 1 turn, it's not taking into consideration the percentage of tenacity that the enemy character has. So the enemy character still has an ability, or still has the ability to ignore the ability block. So she could still do damage, but they could resist the ability block. Or if their evasion is high enough, they could, if their evasion is high enough, they could completely ignore the ability. And by ignoring the ability, it also ignores the ability block. We'll come down to Master Healer's Blessing. This is in my opinion, one of the most broken heals in the game right now. It allows each ally to recover 45% of Luminara's max health, plus an additional 20% of her max health over the course of 2 turns. So this is one of the strongest heals in the game, and this really is what makes Luminara a must-have for your team. It's saved me many times in different battles. Now let's go down to her leader ability. All Jedi allies get 14% evasion and recover 6% of Luminara's max health at the start of every turn. Non-Jedi allies will receive half of the bonuses. I'm going to pause for a second. All Jedis have leader abilities that help other Jedis. In terms of Luminara's leader ability, I do not think it's one of the better Jedi leader abilities. There are many other Jedis that have better abilities, and I'll discuss why in a second. Um, Her 14% evasion, it's nice because it also stacks off of the evasion up that she gets from her basic attack. So that's probably the best part of her leader ability. But many players see that there's a healing part of her leader ability and think, oh, it's going to be good. It's only 6%. So I've noticed in many battles that I do, the enemy characters usually do between 15% and 25% of my character health bar on average, depending on how much health the character has. So if you take that into consideration, that's just from one attack. The enemy has 5 different characters that can attack. So if you do happen to lose, let's say 15% of your health, the next turn you will only gain 6% from Luminara's leader ability. So in my opinion, the 6% is it's not even worth, and it's honestly nothing compared to Master Healer's Blessing. So that's the main reason I wouldn't recommend this leader ability, because of that 6% max, 6% heal. It looks deceiving. It's just, you think healing's good, but really it's just a small portion, and it's not going to help you. Because there is another leader ability within the Jedis. It is Ahsoka Tano's leader. It's almost identical to Luminara's. Of course, this leader ability isn't leveled up as much as Luminara's, but she grants 14% evasion to Jedis and Night Sisters, and they gain 15% turn meter whenever they evade. So the evasion portion of both of their leader abilities is practically the same. What differs is the following part. 15% turn meter every time they evade is quite a bit, especially since every character has their own evasion statistics. So that's just basically the reason why I think in this scenario, Ahsoka's leader ability is actually better than Luminara's. So that's the basic stats for Luminara and her abilities. I do think she's a very good attacker. She's got high damage, and her healing is just unparalleled. So we can talk about some of the characters she's strong against, some of the characters she's weak against, and some of the characters that she works well with. I'll just scroll through the character list. Some of the characters that she works well with are characters that grant offense up or advantage. One of the examples would be Captain Phasma's Victory March. Grants advantage, so that will just give her physical attacks a lot more damage. I believe Poggle, if I can find him, also has offense up for 2 turns. One of his abilities does. I believe Qui-Gon Jinn does too. Since I don't own him, I don't necessarily know which ability it is and how much it has to be leveled up, because it's not under one of his basic levels. In terms of characters she's good against, definitely Darth Vader. Darth Vader has a damage over time effect, which is Force Crush. He inflicts 3 damage over time effects over 2 rounds. Obviously, this can be very easily countered by Luminara's heal, especially since her heal is immediate, and it also occurs over the following 2 turns. So it just basically counteracts all that damage. Characters that she's weak against definitely would be many of the Sith. Many of the Sith get bonus damage against Jedis. The obvious examples would be Darth Sidious, Count Dooku, Cad Bane, Darth Maul, General Grievous. Especially Count Dooku. He just has increased percent chance of stun against Jedis. It's really annoying. So But she's also weak against characters that inflict immunity to healing, such as Darth Sidious's basic attack, just inflicts healing immunity for 3 turns. Um, I believe IG-88's basic attack does inflict healing immunity, or has a 45% chance. So characters that deal healing immunity, they're a pain in the butt to deal with because you can't use Luminara's heal. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I think Kylo Ren also has a healing immunity. Um, she generally works well with Jedi characters because they will give um, stat boosts to other fellow Jedi's. But I would not recommend her actual leader ability. But yeah, so it's pretty much the gist on Luminara. I would strongly recommend her for your team if you really need a healer and a high damage attacker, and if you need a Jedi to complete the Yoda challenges. She can be found in the Galactic War store. That's mainly, I think that's actually the only place you can get her if you're a free to play player like I am. So definitely one of the essentials that you're going to want to get on your team, and I hope this helps.